Good morning. What's going on, Facebook? We're going to do a little question of the day here. I usually do these over on Instagram stories, but fuck it, we're going to do it on video form. I mean, you guys have been enjoying the video forms, and I appreciate all the likes and the shares and the comments and all the stuff that you've been putting on the videos. It makes a difference. So, today, we have a question from Red Finn. Thanks for the question last night, man. I appreciate it. Lewis, where are we going here? Here we go. This is a common question, by the way. I know that this is going to apply to a lot of people. Lewis, I find myself putting so much pressure on myself to find what I love doing that I end up going backwards, and I just generally am not happy with my everyday life. He says, I don't really have a question, but yeah. Look, putting pressure on yourself. I want to address this because a lot of people do this, including myself sometimes. Sometimes I put a little extra pressure on myself. So here's how I deal with it. Firstly, you've got to drop the labels and the subjective language. When someone says here, well, I'm putting so much pressure on myself to do X, Y, and Z, okay, really? What does that mean? How much pressure? How much PSI? How much bar of pressure? Can you measure that? And they say, no. So you're just making up words? You got to drop the language that's not serving you. Saying, oh, I'm putting myself under a lot of pressure. It's not unless you can measure the pressure, you're just coming up with labels and you're coming up with excuses to not get to the point. This guy in particular, for example, wants to find out what he loves doing. So this is what you got to do to think objectively. Let's just say here, let me just turn my screen back. Let's just say, look, he's here, this is now. And he wants to get to some place here in the future where he knows what he loves, right? Knows what he loves. Now, future. Now, when he's going around in circles here, saying, oh, I'm putting myself under pressure, which you can't really measure or define, you're wasting energy using language like this. A better question to ask is, okay, what did I actually do? Did I read a book on finding out what I would love to do? Did I scroll through Facebook? Was I reading blog posts? Was I watching YouTube videos, motivational videos? Was I taking a course? Was I traveling? What was I doing? You want to write out what specifically you did, and then you want to say, did it get me the result that I want? What did I learn from it? What did I learn from it? What did I learn from it? Oh, I learned a few things. Even scrolling through Facebook. If this is your goal, finding out what you'd love to do, and you're scrolling through Facebook, you can learn something from that. Look, I like cats, I like dogs, I like the bloody kitten videos. You can find out a piece of the puzzle, because to get from where you are now to where you want to be in the future, if this line here is finding out what you want to do, what you love to do, look, it's not going to come in one, the whole thing is not going to come in one freaking package, one gift. It's a puzzle. It'll come in little chunks like this, and so every single day your job is to just find another piece of the puzzle, another piece of the puzzle, and eventually over time you'll get there. So firstly, like I said, you want to stop using language that's not measurable. You're just using subjective, emotional language, and it's pulling you away from doing the process, from being objective and finding out what's working, what's not working. Secondly, you want to make sure you have some patience. To get from where you are now, to get to any goal in the future, it doesn't just come in one fucking thing that falls out of the sky. Usually it comes in steps, in lessons, in trials and tribulations, in little pieces of the puzzle, and you put them together over time, and then you start to get like this compounding effect, and then you start to get bigger chunks, and then you realize, look, I started here, and now I'm here. So, what else was I going to say? I was going to say, every time that you're doing something, you want to find out what worked, what worked, and what didn't work. That didn't work. That was a silly strategy. And then you want to have more strategies. These are your strategies, by the way. You want to list 50 to 100 strategies. You want to list 10, 15, 20 people. If your goal, whatever your goal is, you can get 50 to 100 strategies lined up. You can say, okay, well, you might ask the question, who does know what they love to do with their life? Who's written books on the topic? So these are your strategies. You just keep writing them down. You have 100 strategies to go through, and you do one. What did I get out of it? Yep, I got this, and no, I didn't get that. I figured out that I don't like that, and I do like that. Then you go to the next strategy, and you just keep doing the strategies. There's no wasting time talking about how much pressure you think you're putting yourself under is you're not getting the result. You want to have 100 strategies. You want to ask yourself, this is self-review, by the way. This is self-review. Asking today, what worked? What didn't work? If you do those, just ask yourself those questions every day, it'll make a massive difference in your journey. It'll make a massive difference to your life. So that's my little process. I mean, there's a few other steps that I could go into to make it even faster and even more efficient. But the gist of it is, drop the subjective language, the emotional language. A lot of people say, yeah, Lewis, this is just so hard. I'm like, what do you mean it's hard? What's the density of the thing that you're doing? Have you measured it? They're like, no, it just feels hard. And so whenever you're using language, putting too much pressure on, I've got too much pressure on me, or something's too hard, and if you can't measure that, then you're not being objective. You're depleting brain power in your subjective excuses and dissociations, coming up with language to describe the emotions that you're feeling. And if you're trapped in emotion, you're not going to get the results that you want. You're going to be weighed down with your emotions. So you want to drop the subjective language. You want to only talk in ways that you can measure. And so you drop the pressure. Then you want to ask, okay, I haven't asked this guy yet. I would have said to him, what did you do? What do you mean the pressure? You say you're going backwards. What did you actually do? And everything that you did, if you have a goal, by the way, and you fucking try something and it doesn't work, you're a step closer to the goal. A lot of people don't quite grasp that. When you try something and it doesn't work, well, you know what doesn't work. That actually puts you closer to the goal, because you can, through a process of elimination, eliminate that from the next day, from the next week of the things that you're going to do. So you want to cross off all the strategies. You want to have 100 different strategies to get you to the goal, and you want to cross them all, find out what worked, what didn't work. It's basic efficiency and effectiveness. And if you have the tenacity to cut through the emotional language and really authentically and objectively self-review yourself, you can just make little steps toward it, and eventually you'll get there. If you have patience, you'll get there. So I hope that sort of clears up the way. I think you got to be a master of self-review, and you got to drop the subjective emotional language, and then you'll get what you want eventually. You just keep refining. This worked today. This didn't work today. I do it every single day. What worked today? What didn't work today? And every day you make little changes, and they stack up over a long time. They make a big difference.